What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and it is finally time to let you guys know if the Xbox One X is dope or no. And yes, I know I promised a few weeks ago when I unboxed it that I'd be doing a giveaway, and that time is finally here. So if you want to enter into the giveaway of a brand new Xbox One X, all you've got to do is make sure you are subscribed to the channel and leave a comment down below. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to be selecting a winner, and I'll probably be announcing it over on Twitter. So be sure to follow me there if you haven't already, or just check the page, it doesn't really matter. But for those of you who aren't interested in a giveaway and you want to know if this is worth your purchase, here's what I think after using it for about a month. And of course, you know we've got to talk about the design here. And if you're familiar with the One S's design, then you're pretty familiar with the One X as well. They look almost exactly alike, but the One X is slightly wider and a bit shorter when laid flat. But the main difference you'll see with the bodies here is with the vents. The One S has vents at the top, similar to that of the original Xbox One, while the One X has its vents on the sides. And I'm personally a fan of this because if you need to stack things on top of the One X, it makes it a little bit less worrisome, especially if you're not working with a lot of shelf space. But honestly, the One X shows how different it is from the One S with what's under the hood. Firstly, the One X is 30% faster with a 2.3 GHz 8-core processor, while the S is clocked at 1.73 GHz. The GPU also has quite a bit more graphical power, with the S coming in at 1.4 teraflops and the One X with 6. We've also got 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM on the One S and 12 gigs of DDR5 on the X. Now when it comes to storage, if you're looking at the One S, you've got options between 500 gigabytes all the way up to 2 terabytes, but for the One X, currently there's only a 1 terabyte model, and this is something you're going to want to keep a note of. And because we've got Xbox One X enhanced games, the file sizes are going to be much larger due to all that extra graphical data, which means they're going to be taking up way more room on the hard drive, which means less space for extra games. This makes needing an external drive that much more important with the One X, so you can have all the space you need for those enhanced games. And based on my conversations with the folks over at Microsoft, it's actually beneficial to have your game saved on the external hard drive, as it frees up some of the workload for your Xbox. Now I know I just hit you guys with a ton of numbers, but for my everyday folks who just want to know what this stuff means, what it basically translates to is more power, better graphics with much more detail and better textures, and you're also going to be getting smoother gameplay thanks to that 8-core CPU and even faster load times. Now if you've got a 4K TV, you're obviously going to be able to play all the 4K content at its full resolution, but what I like about the One X is that even if you're still rocking a 1080p TV, you're still going to be able to reap the benefits from all that power under the hood. So even if you aren't rocking 4K, you still have access to faster load time, improved texture filtering, and better frame rates. Now I've been playing the One X with a 4K TV, and let me tell you guys, the games look really good. Even performance was solid, everything has been super smooth on my end, and that's kind of what you expect with all the hardware that this thing is working with. Hardware-wise, Microsoft killed this machine, but taking a look at the software side of things, I do wish they did a few things a bit differently. They've made great strides in simplifying the homepage, but in all honesty, it still takes me some time to find what I'm looking for. I think I'd like it a bit more if everything were laid out in front of me, instead of being on different pages that I have to either go down to or go over to the right. Everything in front of me would have been ideal. But one nice implementation that I like is that when you're accessing your games, you'll be able to find the Xbox One X enhanced games by just hitting this little tab, so you can know exactly which games in your library are going to be able to take advantage of the Xbox One X's hardware. I definitely think that's a tab people are going to want to keep in mind. And that actually brings us to the next thing I want to talk about, which is games. Games are absolutely enjoyable on the One X, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I do wish we had a few more exclusives at our fingertips. Microsoft guys, if you're listening, just bring back Scalebound. We can act like the cancellation never happened. I promise. But all jokes aside, I do wish the gaming lineup were a bit stronger. Hopefully the hardware on the One X will entice a few developers to come over and create some cool games for it. Now the big question is, who is this for, and is it dope or no? Now I personally think that this is for the gamer who wants the absolute best quality they can get out of a console, or that person who wants this to function as their 4K entertainment system. This thing pretty much covers every aspect of 4K content delivery, from 4K gaming to 4K streaming, and even 4K Blu-ray playback, and on top of that, it also supports Dolby Atmos, so you're gonna get the best audio quality available there as well. So this thing pretty much covers everything from a visual to audio perspective, and it does it all really well. And the Xbox functioning as an entertainment hub has always been one of my favorite aspects about the system, especially if you pair it with a Kinect, which is pretty much over. RIP Kinect. And while it's on the pricier end of consoles available today, Xbox isn't limiting your purchasing decision to the X, as they still offer the One S for those who don't think they're gonna need all the power of the X, with all the same games still available for it. But with all that in mind, I do think the Xbox One X is dope. It's hands down the most powerful console out right now. It makes a great entertainment system, and it does lose a few points for not having a stronger gaming library, but overall, I think it is a solid purchase. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be the cool guy or girl that gives this video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Definitely subscribe, leave a comment down below if you want to make sure you enter into that giveaway, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace.